Hey there, and
everyone.
welcome to your
back
deep
for
dive.
another deep dive.
Ready to
You guys
unpack
chose
the
this
power
one,
paradigm.
and I have a feeling it's going to be a fascinating
This book
one.
is
Definitely.
So we're tackling the
dense, to say
challenges
the
of raising
least.
sons today. Specifically,
It's
looking
full of
at this
amazing
book,
stuff about
what's it
power,
called?
what
Raising
it is,
sons
how
in
it's
a
worked over
Gynocracy,
time, how it affects
a
us
guide
today,
for
all that good
red-pilled
stuff.
men.
Yeah,
And
that's the
expert
one. It's
speakers
definitely
here to,
gotten some attention, and it really
help us
dives
connect the
into
dots.
how
Yeah,
different
there's
things
a
are
lot
for
to
boys
unpack,
now
for sure.
compared to
Right away,
say,
the book
when we were
makes this
growing
big
up.
claim.
Right. Like the
If
whole
you want
landscape
to
has
really make it
shifted.
in a world
And
that
they use
feels
this
kind of
term,
crazy, you
Gynocracy,
have to understand how
describe,
power
well,
works.
I guess. Okay, I'm listening.
A
Where do we
society
even
run by
start?
women.
We're going
To be
way
clear,
back,
though,
like
that's their term, not ours.
pre-civilization.
Exactly.
Even.
We're
Think
just
early
presenting what
humans
the book
before
says.
language, physical
But
strength.
yeah, that idea
was
kind of sets the
everything.
stage
Right,
for their whole
makes sense.
argument.
Back
They
then
say
it was all
raising
about
boys
outrunning
today
danger
comes with this
or,
whole other
taking
set
down a
of
mammoth for
challenges.
dinner.
And their big
Exactly.
solution.
And the book
They say
makes
it
this
all comes
interesting
down to
point
those
that link
traditional
between
gender
being
roles.
strong and having
Strength,
power, it's still in
responsibility,
us, even if
respect
we're
the
not,
whole 9 yards.
fighting for our
They
lives
even bring
every
up
day.
I can
Elon
see
Musk.
that, yeah.
We
still
his
look up to
upbringing
athletes.
proves
Want
their
strong
point.
leaders.
Right. It's
Kind of
like
like our
they're
ancestors
advocating for a
respecting whoever could
return
protect the
to,
tribe.
I don't know, like a more old
That's the
school way
idea.
of raising boys.
Understanding those ancient
Like a total
instincts,
throwback.
even now.
But it makes you
gives us
think,
this
are those
weird
values
insight into
actually
how power
gone,
works in the
or are
modern
they just...
world.
So we've
I
got
don't know,
brawn
maybe
equals power
evolving.
back then.
That's the
Mhm.
million
But how do
dollar
we get
question,
from
isn't
that
it? And the
to
author really draws
building
this
empires
sharp
and all that?
contrast, almost
That
like
is where it
old
gets
versus
really
new,
interesting.
you know? The
And they
book
don't
talks
just
about
stop
how
there. They
basically
bring in
ancient
these
civilizations
historical heavy
leveled
hitters,
up.
like
They
Winston
figured out
Churchill.
how to use
Like, remember how
nature,
he led
fire,
during World
water,
War II?
wind as
Resilience,
tools
leadership,
to control
the
things,
whole shebang.
expand,
Right, they're
build
pointing
whole
to those
civilizations
figures as
you name
proof
it,
Like
that this
Prometheus
traditional
stealing
model
fire. The
works.
book uses
Okay,
that
but
to
then
talk
they
about
bring it back
knowledge
to
is
this
power.
Gynocracy
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's where
Or
they get
think
into the
about the
nitty-gritty
Phoenicians
of
sailing
how
the
this
seas,
supposed
dominating
system impacts
trade. That was
boys.
technology,
in really
shipbuilding,
specific areas, and one of the
navigation,
biggest
making them
ones,
super powerful.
education.
And the
Of course,
Egyptians,
gotta talk
they
about
built their
school,
whole
right?
Oh,
world
absolutely.
around
They
the
really
Nile.
go
It
in
wasn't
on the
just
whole
adapting to nature
feminization
anymore.
of education.
It was
They even throughout the
controlling a
stat, like
resource for power.
76%
And that whole
of
controlling
teachers are
resources thing,
women.
that's still
Whoa,
huge today, right?
76%.
Like with oil.
Totally.
Seriously.
The book actually says,
Okay,
and this is a direct
but
quote,
that
the 20th
automatically
century
put
was a
boys at a
race for oil.
disadvantage.
And honestly,
That's
look
what
at
the
the
author
history.
argues. They
The
seem to
politics,
think
the
that,
wars,
yeah, all
the
those
money
female
made.
teachers
Hard
mean
to
the
disagree.
system might not be the
It makes
best
you think
fit
about
for
the
how
Gulf
boys
Wars,
learn.
right?
Interesting.
The book
Yeah,
talked
and
about
they
how
even
controlling
suggest,
the
like,
oil,
if you really
there was
think
a
your son's
major
struggling,
factor in
maybe
those.
look
For
at
sure.
other options,
And it's
like
bigger than just
homeschooling or
wars,
something
too.
more
Look at
hands-on.
OPEC.
So it's about,
they
like,
decide
being
how much oil
proactive,
gets
Yeah.
produced,
not
what
just
it costs.
accepting things
That
as they
impacts
are.
economies.
But then you have folks
globally.
saying,
It shows
hey,
the whole fight
don't
for
all
resources.
kids benefit from
Yeah,
a
that's
more
not going
nurturing
away anytime
environment?
soon.
Like,
Yeah, and that brings it
why
back to us, right?
differentiate?
Like,
Yeah, that's
we might
a good
not
point.
think about
Like,
it every day.
is it
but
really
the
that black
price
and
of
white?
oil,
Boys
need
need
one
that
thing,
affects
girls need
everything.
another. The
Right.
gas we
And that's
buy,
where
how
things
much
get really
groceries cost.
interesting. The
This
author doesn't
invisible
just
web,
leave it at,
you know?
Yeah,
here's the
and
problem.
it's always
They
changing,
actually
too,
offer
right? Like, we're not in the
solutions.
20th
Like,
century anymore,
here's how
so
you,
what's
as
the
a
big thing
father,
now?
can
Information,
navigate
right?
this Gynocracy.
Who's got it? Who can
Okay,
get
so
to
it's
it?
not all
What
doom
they
and
do
gloom.
with it?
Your
Not at
digital
all.
age.
They actually
Yeah,
really
social media, all these
emphasize
tech
being
companies. There's
present
definitely
in your
something new
son's
happening
life,
with power now.
Totally.
being aware of these
The book
biases
talks
they're
about
talking
how
about, and then
Google,
most
Facebook,
importantly,
Amazon,
being
all
your
those guys,
son's
they've got
So it's
so
about
much
empowering
power
dads.
just from controlling
Like, hey, you've
information.
got a voice,
They're gathering
use it.
tons of data about
100%.
everything
It's
we
about
do online.
taking
Our
control,
habits, what we like,
making
what
sure
we
your
think
son has
even.
what he needs.
Right.
And
And they
then
use it
bring
too,
up another
to show us
area
specific
where this all
ads
comes into
change
play.
what we see in
The
our feeds.
corporate world.
They basically
interesting.
shape how
You mean
we
like how men are treated
experience
in the
the
workplace.
internet.
Exactly.
And that's where this whole
The book
digital
argues
divide
that
thing
men
comes
are
in,
kind
right?
of
If you
facing
don't know
an
how to use
uphill
tech
battle,
or you can't get
especially now
online,
with so many
you're
women in
behind.
leadership roles.
It's more than just
They
missing
even
the
talk
latest
about this
trends. It's
glass
like
cliff phenomenon.
opportunities,
Glass cliff.
information,
What is that?
stuff you need
Sounds
that's only
kinda
online
dangerous.
now.
It basically
Exactly. A
describes
whole
how
new kind
women
of
are
power
often put in
imbalance.
charge,
Whoever
like in
controls the
leadership
information,
positions, but only
they've got
when things
way
are
more
already
influence
going
on our lives
downhill.
than they used
Like
to.
the company's
Makes
in
you realize
trouble,
how
so they bring
important it is
in a
to be
woman to try to
informed.
fix it.
Oh wow!
Right.
So it's
Not
almost
just
just passively
setting them up
scrolling
to
through
fail.
stuff, but
That's
actually
one way to look at it.
thinking about
And while they say it
what you
might
see
not always
online.
be
That's huge.
intentional, they
Questioning argue this
things,
whole thing
finding
makes it
different
even tougher
perspectives,
for men
really
to climb
digging
the
into
corporate
where
ladder.
It's
information
like
is
that
coming
glass
from, all
ceiling
of
thing,
that.
but flipped.
Not just letting
Right.
yourself be
Instead of
like,
women struggling to
manipulated
get to the
by
top,
whatever
it's
you
men
see online.
Right.
potentially
And
being
the book doesn't just
disadvantaged
talk
in a
about
whole
this
new
big
way.
picture
Exactly.
stuff either. It gets
And
into
the
the
author
psychology
ties
of
it right
power,
back
too,
to
like
this
how it affects
Gynocracy
us
idea, saying
personally.
it's
Okay,
just
now
another
that's really
symptom of a
interesting, how
system
power
that's,
can actually
I don't know,
change
maybe not
people.
working for
Right.
men in the same way it
Exactly.
used to.
Like there's this
So
whole
they're painting a
biological
picture
side
of a
to
world
it.
where
The book
men
mentions
are
this thing,
what,
how
facing
even
these
just
systemic
standing in a
disadvantages.
powerful way, a power
It's a lot to
pose,
process.
can mess with your
And
hormones.
it's definitely
really?
starting a conversation.
Just by changing
Well, it's
how
not
you
all
stand,
doom and gloom.
you
You
know,
can
the
feel
book
more
actually
powerful.
shifts gears a bit
Apparently
and starts
so.
offering solutions.
Our bodies
like,
have a
okay,
crazy
this is the world we're
influence
living
on our
in.
minds.
How do
And it
you
gets
raise
deeper,
sons who
too.
can thrive?
The book talks about how
And one of
power
their biggest
changes how
things
we
is
make
building
decisions, our
resilience.
relationships,
Resilience.
even
Okay,
how we
yeah,
see the
everyone's
world.
talking about
Okay,
that these
so
days.
how does it
But
affect
what does
our
that even
decisions?
mean, like in this
Well,
context?
it can make you more confident,
Raising boys in a
sometimes too much so.
gynocracy.
People
Well,
in
they break it
power,
down into
they're
a
more
few
likely
key
to take
things.
risks, think they
Discipline,
can't lose.
physical
Which, I
fitness,
mean,
mental
that could be
toughness.
good, could be bad.
It's
depends on
all
the
about having
situation.
that inner
sure.
strength, you know,
It can also
to
make you
face
less
whatever
empathetic,
life throws
though.
at you.
So
when
it's
you're
more
the
than
one
just
with
being
power,
tough.
it's
about
easy to only
having
see
that
things
grit,
your
that
way
ability
and
to
forget
push
how your
through
actions
when things
affect
get
other
hard.
people.
It's like that whole power
They argue
corrupts
boys need
absolute,
to be
power corrupts
equipped to handle
absolutely thing.
adversity, to
And
stick
this
up for
book,
themselves,
it gets
to
that.
persevere.
It talks about how easily
It almost sounds like
power
they're
can be
advocating
abused,
for
how it's been used to
I don't know,
hurt
a bit of a
people.
tough love
But it also
approach
says
to
that
parenting.
power itself
Yeah,
isn't
there's
good
definitely
or
an element
bad.
of that.
It's
And this
about
is where it
how
gets
you
interesting.
use it.
They
So
talk
it's not
about the
about
importance
avoiding
of having
power
a strong
altogether.
support
It's about
network too,
learning how to
not
use
just
it the right
personal
way.
resilience.
Yeah.
To do
It's like
good.
that whole it takes a
Exactly.
village idea.
And that's a big part of the book
100%.
too.
They
The
say
ethics
male
of
role
power.
models
It's
and
saying
mentors are
that
absolutely
real power
crucial,
isn't about
especially
controlling
if you
others.
believe,
It's about
like the author
empowering
does,
yourself.
that those traditional
Wherein
male
everyone
roles are being
around
chipped
you.
away.
I like
So
that.
we're talking about
It's not
uncles,
about
grandfathers,
taking power from
coaches,
someone else.
those
It's about
positive
making
male
a fairer
figures
world
who
for
can guide a
everyone.
young
Right
man.
on.
Absolutely.
And that's why the
Surround
book
your
looks at
son
all
with
these different ways
strong
power
men,
works, from
men who
top-down
embody
hierarchies
those
to more
values
collaborative
that might be
approaches.
harder to find
It makes you
elsewhere,
think
at
about
least
how
according to the
power
author.
is shared in
It's
our
about
society,
fostering that
and
sense
if
of
there are
community, that
better,
brotherhood.
more fair
Exactly.
ways to do it.
And then
Are there
on top
any
of that
examples
social
of those
support,
other
they're
ways
also
of
really
sharing
big on
power,
financial
like actually
responsibility.
working
They
in the
say
real
it's
world?
fundamental to what it means
The book
to be a
talks
man.
about the open
Yeah,
source
being able to
software
provide for
movement,
yourself
people
and your
working
family
together,
pretty
sharing
traditional
knowledge,
way.
no
Right.
bosses or anything.
But they tie it back
also,
to
things like work your own
empowering
businesses,
men,
giving them the tools
employees.
to fulfill
They have a
those
say in
roles
how
they
things are
see
run
as so
because they've got a
important.
stake in it.
Teaching
So it's
boys
about
how to
giving more
manage
people a
money, how to
voice.
invest, how
A
to
say
plan for the future.
in the decisions that
So it's
affect
about
their
being
lives.
self-sufficient.
Yes.
Being a provider.
And that leads to
Do
a
you think
really
that's still
cool
relevant today?
and potentially
That's a
world-changing
good question
part
for the
of
listeners
this
to
whole
ponder.
power thing.
And here's where it gets even more
Decentralization.
interesting.
That's where technology comes back
As much
in,
as
right?
they emphasize
Solar
these
panels,
traditional values,
blockchain.
they also
Yeah.
talk about consent
Even social
and
media,
boundaries.
in a way,
like
they're all changing
specifically
how
in
power
the
works.
context of
Totally.
this
Think about solar panels.
Gynocracy.
People can make their own
So how do they
energy. They
square
don't
those
have to
two
rely
things?
on big companies
Traditional
as much anymore.
masculinity and
Literally
navigating
taking back your
consent
power.
in
Exactly.
today's
And
world.
It's
blockchain.
definitely a
That could make
balancing act.
everything from
They acknowledge
voting
that men are
to,
being held more
like, how
accountable
products
than
are
ever,
made,
which
way more
is a good
transparent
thing.
and secure.
But they also
Less power for
say
the middleman
men need to be
more for
extra
regular
careful,
people.
especially
So
if
you're
you buy
saying
into their
technology could actually
argument
create
about
a
a power
fairer
shift.
world
It's about
where
finding
power is
that
more
middle
spread
ground.
out.
It
Right.
definitely
Right.
has the potential.
Respecting women, but also
But there's
being
no
aware
guarantee.
of how things are
Technology's a
changing.
tool,
Absolutely.
right?
It's about
It's
teaching
all about
your
how
son
we
to be
use it.
respectful,
The book
to
warns us to
understand
watch out for the
boundaries,
downsides
to navigate
too, like
those
power
waters
getting
carefully.
concentrated
That's a
in the
lot to
hands of a
handle.
few
It really
big tech
is.
companies.
And throughout
That
the book, they
double-edged
really
sword
stress
thing again.
critical
Technology
thinking.
can be amazing.
Don't just take their
but it
word
can also
for
make
it, you
things
know.
less equal.
Question
if we're
things,
not
have those
careful.
open dialogues.
Exactly.
That's refreshing.
That's
at
why
least.
it's
They're
important
not
to think
saying
critically
this is
about
the only
tech.
way to raise your
Question
son.
what we're
No,
told
not at
and
all.
fight
They
for it to
even
be
talk
developed
about
and
this
used
classic
ethically.
study, the
you know?
Stanford
So it's not about
marshmallow
blindly trusting that
experiment.
technology
the
will
one
fix
with the
everything.
kids and
It's
the
about
marshmallow.
That's
using
the
it
one.
in a smart
So
way
they talk about
to make a
how
better
when they
future.
tried to
Right.
replicate
And
that
that leads us to
experiment
this
in
big
another
question the
culture
book asks.
with the Hadza tribe
In a world
in
that's so
Tanzania,
shaped by
they got
technology,
different results.
how are you going to
Interesting. So
define
they're saying
and use your
what
power?
that different
Wow,
cultures
good
might
question.
need different approaches.
It's not just about
Exactly.
understanding
What
power in
works
some
in one
abstract way.
context might
It's
not
about
work in
figuring
another.
out what
And
each
they
of us can
urge
do
parents
with
to
our
have
own
those
skills and
conversations with
influence
their sons.
to make
Like,
things better.
really help them
It's about
develop those
recognizing
critical
that you have
thinking skills
agency.
early on.
You can make things happen.
So it's about
even in a
raising
world
men who
that
can think for
feel
themselves,
overwhelming at times.
Evaluate
So it's about
information,
finding your
come to
voice,
their own
connecting with
conclusions.
people, and
Exactly.
taking action.
Now,
Yes.
before we go any
And
further,
that
it is
takes us
important
to
to
a
acknowledge
super
that this
important
book
part of
does
this
use
whole
some
discussion,
pretty strong language
the
at
power of
times.
storytelling.
It's a bit out there. How
Yeah, and it
narratives
presents a
shape
very
how we see
specific
power
perspective
and what we
that
do about
might
it.
not resonate with
Exactly,
everyone.
and it's something we don't
For
always
sure.
think
And
about.
as
We're
always, we
bombarded with
encourage you
stories
to check out the
constantly,
book for
books,
yourself,
movies, social
form
media,
your own
everything.
opinions.
And those
We're just
stories
here
have
to
a
guide
huge
you
impact
through it,
on
really.
how we
Spark
understand
some
the world,
discussion.
how we
Right.
see power.
Now, I
even
think it
how
would be
we
helpful
act.
to dive
Yeah,
into
and those
some of the
stories,
specific
they can be used
examples
to,
they
like,
give to
control people,
illustrate
too,
their
right?
Totally.
points. Like they
Like
have some really
propaganda.
vivid stories in there.
Oh,
Using
totally.
stories to
Those
get
always
people to
help make
think
things
or
more
act a
real.
certain way.
Yeah,
But
because
the
the
book
book
also
to talk
says
about
that
these
stories can be a
ideas in
good thing,
theory,
too,
but it
right?
really
To
hits
fight
home
back
when you see
against
how they
those
play out
harmful
in real
narratives
life.
and to
Exactly. And they
inspire
actually
actually do a
change.
good job
Absolutely,
of bringing
especially
in
now with
those
social
real
media and
world
everything.
examples. Like,
Everyone can be
one
a
figure they
storyteller.
keep
It's about
coming back
using
to
our
is Winston
voices right.
Churchill.
Sharing
He's
our
like their
experiences and
poster
connecting
boy
with
for these
others.
traditional masculine
And realizing
values,
that
resilience,
those stories we
leadership,
tell,
you name it.
they have
Churchill,
power.
right. Makes
It's
sense.
up to us to
The
use
guy's a
them for
legend.
good.
But
you
what
know,
is
for
it
things
about
like
him
justice
specifically
and
that they're
equality.
highlighting?
Well said.
They talk about
Okay,
his
before we wrap up, I wanted to
unwavering
touch on one more
determination,
thing that
you
really
know,
stuck
like
with
his
me.
ability
The idea
to
that
lead
understanding
during
power
those
is
really
like
tough
a
times, his
lifelong journey.
commitment to
It's
his
not something you just
principles.
figure out
They
overnight.
use him
It's
as
a
this
process
model of
learning,
what strong
unlearning,
male
and
leadership
adapting as the
looks
world
like.
changes.
Interesting. So
The
they're
book
saying,
made it
look,
clear that
this
there's
is what we're
always
talking
more
about.
to learn,
But it's not
more to
just these
question.
historical
And
figures,
that's what makes
right?
it so
they
interesting.
also use examples
right? It's
from
not about
like
having
sports
all
and
the
stuff.
answers.
Oh,
It's
for
about
sure.
being
They bring
open
up
to
guys
new
like,
ideas
you
and
know,
realizing that
Tom
power
Brady,
dynamics are constantly
Dwayne "The Rock"
shifting.
So it's about staying
All about
curious, staying
discipline,
informed,
hard
and staying
work,
engaged.
overcoming
Exactly.
obstacles,
and
those
never
classic success
underestimating
stories
your
that
own
really resonate.
potential
Totally.
to make a difference.
Especially with young
whether
guys.
Yeah.
It's like,
your
look,
work,
these guys
your
made it to the
relationships, your
top,
community,
and this is how they
or just
did
having
it.
thoughtful
Right. And
conversations.
alongside those
That's a
kind of
good point.
celebrity
We can all
examples, they also
contribute to
get
a
more
better
personal.
world,
Like they have
even
this
in
whole
small
story about
ways.
this kid,
Absolutely.
Jake, who just
it's about
wasn't
recognizing
thriving in
that we're
school.
not
Like the whole
powerless.
environment just
We
wasn't
all
a
have
good
a
fit
role
for
to
him.
play
They
in
say
shaping the
he was
future.
more of a hands-on learner.
Beautifully said.
So it ties back
And
to their
that is
whole
how we unpack the
argument
power
about how
paradigm.
schools are set up.
Exactly.
This is
They're
just a
trying to
taste, though.
show how these
Speaker, thanks again
bigger
for joining me and
societal
for making
trends
such a
they're talking
complex
about
topic so
can really
engaging.
impact
It was my pleasure.
individual
Always happy to
lives.
It
talk
makes it
about
more
these things.
relatable. Listeners, you know,
I
it's
highly
not just
recommend
some
checking out
abstract
the Power
concept
Paradigm
anymore. It's like,
yourselves.
oh wow, this is
It's a
happening
book that
for
will
real
stay with you
kids.
long after you
Exactly.
finish
And
reading
to
it.
kind of
And it
illustrate
might
the whole
even change how you
consent
see the
thing,
world.
they have this
Until next
hypothetical
time,
situation
stay
about a
curious.
father talking to his son about, how to interact with a girl.
Oh wow, so they're getting into the weeds of it.
A little bit. They're trying to equip fathers with, the tools to have those tough conversations, to coach their sons through those tricky situations.
Because let's be real, it's a minefield out there for young people today, trying to navigate all that.
Oh, absolutely.
So it sounds like what they're really trying to create this comprehensive guidebook for raising sons in, well, what they see as this, increasingly challenging world.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And they definitely don't shy away from controversy. They really go there on certain topics.
Which I guess makes sense, given the title of the book.
Right. But they're also, throughout the whole thing, they keep coming back to critical thinking, open dialogue. It's not like they're saying, this is the only way to raise your son.
Yeah, they seem to be encouraging readers to really grapple with these ideas, form their own conclusions.
Exactly.
Which is really what we're trying to do here, right?
Yeah,
Spark a conversation, get people thinking about these things in new ways.
100%.
So whether you agree with everything in the book or not, it's definitely given us a lot to unpack.
For sure.
And hopefully, our listeners can take something away from it, even if it's just a new perspective on the challenges of raising sons in today's world.
Absolutely. Because it's an ongoing conversation. It's not like there are any easy answers.
For sure. And as always, we encourage you to do your own research, keep the conversation going, and most importantly, be present, be engaged in your sons' lives.
Can have said a bit there myself.
Well, that about wraps up another deep dive. Huge thank you to our expert for really breaking down this complex and definitely thought-provoking book.
It's been a pleasure.
And to you, our listeners, thanks for choosing this topic and, trusting us to dive into it with you.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Remember, we're always here to help you navigate this crazy world of information. So if you're ever feeling overwhelmed by a topic or just want a different perspective, hit us up. We'll dive in together.
Until next time, keep exploring. Keep those deep dive requests coming.
See ya.